Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, today also we are going to take time for the Dhamma talk for the day. May everyone settle down for that and give the consent with three times with sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katami tayo dhamma pahatabba tisso tanhati ti. Dear Venerables, Dhamma friends, day by day we are proceeding along these three things that we have to be abandoned, namely three kinds of cravings. And we yesterday tried to understand, to take this whole, the complicated term, tanha, analyze as much as possible and see what is the weakest point where we can see a weak link and to break on experimental basis, or in the sense as the beginner's mind. And so therefore the tanha, the craving itself, can happen in your eye, with visual objects, and the sound with the eardrum, and the smell with your olfactory or nose, or the tongue with the taste buds, and the body with the tactile sensation and the mind. And that is for sensual gratification, or it is, this sense gratification is very, very personal. And it is within your skin. So this is what most gross, and it is overpouring. And whatever the action you do, outsiders can see how much it is mixed up with this, the craving. And while it is happening, there is another one for the sake of existence. So that means the future of me, or if I am to live further, today I have to earn something, and for that I have to sacrifice some of my comforts and desires, and there you may keep on go for thriving, go for existence, thinking that definitely I am going to live tomorrow. And therefore, while I am maximizing my sensuous pleasure, that the pleasure or the craving for the existence also always making an issue. So sometimes the things you wish to see is not merely for the satisfaction of your eye, but for the existence, for your occupation, for your other kind of thing. So when you go to school, we learn so much of things and may try to remember this and that. That is not for the pleasure of the eye, but think it is important for our existence, and therefore there is another kind of craving, and that is not mere gratification of the senses, but through senses we accumulate. It is because of this bhavatanha, and we think the continuity of the present moment, the continuity of the being, the continuity of the eye, ear, nose, tongue. And instead, if you are nihilists, if you are not believing any kind of eternalism, and there your approach to this kind of existence, which may be craving for the non-existence, that is also part and partial. It is more philosophical and more towards the meditators, and but anyway it is already recognized part in the craving. It is external thing, and most obvious thing is sensuous gratification through your eye, ear, nose kind of thing, with the help of shapes, colors, and the sounds and the smells and kind of thing. But the craving for this existence, you can see commonly or as well as individually. And some people among us, they are not much worried about this existence. They are kind of nihilists. And they also have their own sets of craving. So therefore it is 3 types. And these kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha, the sensuous gratification, pleasure, or craving for existence or non-existence. So we can see whenever you see something, for example with your eye, and you can recognize it is for mere the seeing, or mere pleasure, mere craving, or it is for your existence, or some hidden ideas of non-existence, how much you relate. And seeing that, and even then hearing also, if you are sharp enough, sometimes you have very odd kind of desires. Sometimes it is feeding existence, sometimes it is feeding nihilistic. And on top of that you have sensuous pleasure. And smell, taste, touch. So that is why we found it is 18-fold. And out of this 18, what is the most weakest or easiest or digestible point? And when you analyze the Sutta Pitaka or the discourses of the Buddha present it in such a way, craving for touch or contact with your body sensitivity is the easy way or good starting point for the beginner. That is why Kaya Anupassana, the contemplation or the mindfulness on the body or corporeality, has come in the first aspect of the four foundation of mindfulness. So this body, tactile sensation, that is the point where we sit and try to specialize by fixing the other variables. Visuals, sounds, smell, taste, and be alert and be vigilant, be diligent, be mindful, and to be awake, to be aware of the sensation, the tactile sensation. In walking also the same. So we reduce in a reductionist way. In sitting, we give priority for the air element, expansion, contraction and holding capacity, or inhalation and exhalation, air element. And walking, it is not that it is not available, but the earth element is very prominent, domineering, and you can see the touch, the gross heaviness of your leg or heaviness of your ground, or softness of your leg or softness of your ground. Of course, you can feel the heat and other things. So that is how the bodily sensation and bodily sensitivity and the tactile objects you contact with. So this is how we try to give an answer in this game of understanding craving. And there you see, whenever the Buddha or the meditation master recommend, if you wish to focus on this tactile sensation in your body, you have to make a restraint. You must be restraining yourself temporarily to close your eyes in sitting. And don't go for listening and talking. Don't go for indulgence of the smell or taste, but focusing. Or if you are walking, it is not to run into a railway station, or it is not to catch a bus, but it is going up and down. So how you see how difficult it is for someone to have time for that kind of a meditation, because they wish all the time we must have visual objects, all the time we must, our eye must be working, ear, sound, nose, tongue, and together with the smell and taste, and hardly one can sacrifice them and to focus it. So in order to understand the desire, you have to fix some variables, then only you can focus your available, still untrained capacities or energies to one weakest point. For that you have to accept that you have to cut off seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, like. And that is what you call renunciation. You renounced from that. And it is a suggestion from the Buddha. And if you go and tell Las Vegas and tell, would you mind to, are you happy to close your eyes and entertain and meditate in Las Vegas? Or put earplugs and do entertainment, smell? And if you go there and tasting after going to the restaurants, no. So they are the places, indulgence is there, and you plunge into this sense pleasure. And when you come to a forest or sit under a tree or come to a solitude place, there you are making conducive conditions so that even for a short while you can close your eyes and expect kind of no much of demanding sounds or calling, and smell and taste, and then sometimes focus. And when you are focusing, I'm repeating, when you are focusing also to the bodily tactile sensation, that also we can separate. You feel what you do as well as you can feel what is happening. So out of these two, you have to voluntarily accept, don't do something as such, but just be aware what is happening. And that is also another deep layer of deep kind of renunciation. Because this is the point where you touch your ego. This is the point where you touch your one-upmanship or ego trip. Because whenever something happening, ego is not much prominent. Whenever you do something, whenever you do with your will and volition, that's the point ego can happen. So therefore here you restrain not to do something but to let it happen. So this is what we call our restraint. It is not simply moral restraint. It is further, it's a concentration restraint, we can say. And when and where you focus your untrained or still immature or still a beginner mind, and you can see what is happening in this living body, what is happening in this sensible body. And if you can clearly observe them, if you can clearly report them, it is very deep Dhamma. But unfortunate enough, your mind will get so agitated, so at unrest, when and where you close your eyes, when and where there is no sound, no smell, no taste, and when and where there is nothing doing and everything happening, it appears like cornering, it appears like a punishment, it appears like a outcasted and insecurity. So that is why there's a huge amount of faith, huge amount of belief you must have. This is one thing already tested for 2600 years in this dispensation, and before that so much of Buddhas, they have done it. So therefore please, you can't reason it out for the moment, have faith and have precepts and be mindful. So to train yourself or to expose to yourself or to understand your posture immediately under your very nose without doing is the first contact in our whole samsara to understand who am I. We never do that kind of a thing unless otherwise you are spiritual, unless otherwise you get proper advice, unless otherwise you have faith, unless otherwise you have morality, precepts or mindfulness. Otherwise you can understand how much we are distracted, how much we are eccentric. We never happy, even if you wish, with your whole faith and precepts and mindfulness, if you focus attention, you see how uncomfortable you feel, how situation and how quickly it is changing, what a kind of punishment, what a kind of agony, and what a kind of unruly situation, uncontrollable situation. So it is not a personal issue. It is not you, it is the situation. This is the human mind. And imagine how much we personalize it. We think this is my mind, it is unruly, it is distracted, it is disturbed, and therefore I am answerable. The Buddha says, utterly you are not answerable. That worrying make nothing. Accept it. Do it in here or any another place. Do it in now or another time. Ask any person to do, that is the truth. The simple truth. The opening balance. When and where you keep the mind, body comfortable, and ask mind with devotion and with faith and with precepts, just focused here, now, I am sitting. Sitting is not a forceful thing, it's just passive. Or let the breathing take place, and if it is the case, or if the rising and falling happen, if it is the case, just observe it. How uncomfortable you feel, how quickly mind jump into other places. Because of your hedonic approach, this experience, what you are, never familiar, it's a completely new area. So therefore, mind feel uncomfortable, out of the place, and therefore wish to see familiar things, past, future, other familiar people, other familiar places. So mind become wandering, daydreaming, fantasizing, and this each and every daydreaming and absent-mindedness or lack of mindedness is due to your desirable things, not unknown things. Unknown thing is here now I am. So mind is feel uncomfortable about the unknown, and therefore it is searching and expecting and planning and dreaming and daydreaming. So whatever the suffering coming through, your known things, your desired things, and your lustful things, your delighted things. And instead the Buddha says, on experimental basis, just try to be here and now. It's utterly unknown. It will be utterly distracted by the past, future, nivaranas and other defilements and the emotional and mental situation and future and daydreaming and fantasizing. And of course they are differ from person to person and time to time. But the more very profound truth is, if at all you are to be here and now, in your sitting posture, that here and now experience-wise, we are all the same. No difference. So, I used to say that is the humanity. When and where you are here and now, you are a human. You know, sitting. Otherwise, mind is partial. Mind is specialized in one aspect, never see the system. So you may be very specialized in that subject and this subject, so much so you miss the bus. You never be able to be here and now. So therefore, Tanha is a very big issue. Some people thought it never you can think understanding of that or mastering on that. So therefore, Western philosophy, they never think Tanha you can cross over. It is utterly accepted in Tanha as such. But the Buddha is a one single man or one man army. He says, if you wish, if you know the consequences and the bad result of Tanha, strategically you can go through it and you can see the otherwise, and the first thought moment, mindful thought moment is the momentary success in this big issue. I think the whole in the audience, they have that experience. You have it. You know it. When the mind is here and now, it is the drastic answer or very bold answer to the tanha, may be split second, may be momentary, but it is something experienceable. You all have already experienced, so whole meditative life is nothing but how to maintain it, how to sustain it, how to prevail it, so that you can have 2 consecutive thought moments, 3 consecutive thought moments, so 1 or 2 breaths, or 1 or 2 rising and falling. It's a big challenge for your the tanha-driven habits, likings and disliking, personalities and kind of thing. So therefore, whenever you are renounced with this materialistic kind of thing, seeing shapes, hearing sounds and the smells and tasting, and only focus into a bodily tactile sensation, you are not directly dealing with kama tanha. It's the under the carpet kind of a tanha. So there only you will understand, you are bound to understand, it's of course for your disadvantage. Your understanding is for your disadvantages. That understanding is when you renounce the materialistic pleasure, its shadows, its notions, the perceptions is bombarding you. They are much, much vicious than materiality itself. So therefore kama guna, we call the material. We have the television and we have the radio, we have the smell and we have the taste, we have all the other luxuries kind of thing. So you can renounce and come here. When you come back and sit and try to focus, their memory, their shadows and their perception, not a single thought moment, without single thought moment come and bombarding. So whatever the materialistic part help promote your sensuous gratification is called kama tanha or kama guna. When and where you renounced and try to focus into a neutral object, verifiable object, very common object, then you can see how much Nissarana attack, or obsessional level of tanha attack, it is called kama sanya. It's a notion, it's a perception of kama, and it is wherever you go, there you are. So you can renounce the radio and the television and all the luxuries and kind of thing, but you always carry these nivaranas and all the obsessional kind of defilements. And when you are full with luxury and so much of 3D videos and 4D videos, and kind of people can see, that guy is very luxurious and living. But when you are going to a forest, still your mind is carrying this nivarana, no one can see. You suffer. So kama tanha, it's a social issue, ethical issue. But the sanya, kama guna, kama sanya, you suffer. But the strange thing, 2-3 strange things. When you are into the kama guna, you have never experienced that kind of thing, so therefore it is not a problem. Once you renounce only, this kama sanya becoming such a epidemic, and you're overwhelming your mind, and ultimately you find you try to focus, attribute it to someone or some energy or some powers, but you never ready to accept it is your own tanha. This is just shadow. This is the shadow of what you have desired. Nivarana will never happen from unknown. All the nivaranas are what you accumulated, what you desired once, and they are the thing disturbing it. But still the point I am making is more than kama guna or sensuous apparatus and the things, kama sanya is better. Because you are already renounced. Then only you can see, even if you renounce the kama guna, the sense objects, the kama sanya is disturbing you. So therefore just pushing off of the sensuous object itself is not enough, because or otherwise we can say only transgressional kind of defilements you can do away with, but you can see obsessional kind of defilements. Wherever you go, it is there. Even in the sleep. When you are sitting, walking, standing, lying down, wherever it may be. But you have to understand, they became so prominent because you renounced. I don't know, I am making the point clear. If you are not renounced at home, they are not problem. If you are not a meditator, you have never heard about this obsessional kind of defilement. Because you have enough problems. Problems from the children and the economic and social, and also are fully engaged. But when you renounce, or in the sense renounce even maybe in your home, and then you can see another kind of defilements happening. That is what you call obsessional. It is the shadow of the material object or luxurious object or what you desired, and this you know because of a renunciation. So you have to understand, this is something earned. This is something, an endowment. This is a sign of progress. The 5 nivaranas or 5 hindrances. And now understand one by one. First is kama tanha, sensuous desire, mental. And now you are not with the sexual misconduct or killing or stealing. No, that is gone. Now mind, mental. And the day you understand this nivaranas appears, or obsessional kind of defilement, is only for meditators. Not for the people not renounced yet. They are utterly engaged in the sexual and sensual game. The nivarana is immaterial. So likewise, when you remove the carpet only, you can sweep while the carpets are there. Once you remove the carpet only, you can see there's a tiny dust under the carpet. So therefore, if you are not prepared, when you are renouncing, if you are not prepared to see the refined form of the defilements, then you will start complaining. Whenever I renounce, the defilements happens, or the obsessional kind of defilements happen. This is utterly in the meditation world, because they are not ready to accept. Now you have done away with the gross level of tanha, the subtle level of tanha. So you have replaced the gross level of tanha by accepting the subtle level of tanha. But your mind is not ready to accept. So whatever the method you are going to use in order to tackle nivarana, you do with hate. You do with the undesirability of the nivarana, so you never tackle it. So in a Sunyata Sutta, Chula Sunyata Sutta, the Buddha mentioned, if you wish to get rid of the household life, or you are dealing with the movable and immovable things, you have to go to a forest. When you go to a forest life is little difficult. Not like your household life, but it is something you earn. As far as you are at home, you can't leave it aside. Once you renounce, you are definitely in the forest. It is something irritating, something torturing kind, something not comfortable. But you can get rid of so much of worldly problems by accepting the little distractions in the forest. And if you are not entertaining forest life, now you are in between two difficult situations. You are one thing renounce, and in order to renounce you have to accept the forest life or forest difficulties. But if you are making complaint about the forest life also, then where are we? Where are we? And imagine, by accepting the forest life, you have given up all the gamut of problems pertaining to the world. Because now we have little amount of problems that is limited to the forest. And then the Buddha says, okay, You may believe, or Buddha is asking, please believe. And while you are living in the forest, one day, they say, you come to the forest, do meditation, go and sit, and limit your attention to only your body. So the moment the attention comes to your body, here now I am sitting, or here now I am walking, you have done away with the worldly frustration and the problem, you have done away with the forest dwelling kind of frustration. Now there are some problems which is pertaining to only your body. If you are not accepting it, if you are not appreciating it, how can you refine it? So when we are our body, analyze the 7 questions we discussed today, each and everything is complaining, tingling sensation, heat, cold, stiffness, tension, movements, that means body. So all these things indicate you are not in Kama Guna, you are not in Kama Sanya, you are in body. So it's a good sign. It's an achievement. It's an endowment. It's a gift. But if you hate it, you can go back and entertain the sex pleasure or sensuous pleasure. Or you can think about the forest, or the big problems. And now the Buddha says, okay, now you manage some or the other philosophically or theoretically or rationally. And then while you are observing the body means 4 elements, only one thing at a time. When the air element happens, all the other 3 not available, don't worry about the others. Just be aware of the air element whenever it is become prominent. Breath. Whenever your mind focus avenue to the breath, you are done away with the worldly frustration, you have done away with the forest frustration, you have done away with the body frustration. There are frustration that is pertaining to only the air element. If you do not know this argument, then you will say air element is very unruly. It is making expansion, contraction. How can I meditate? I expect air element to be calm and quiet and one-pointed. Bullshit. Air element is air element. You have to accept it, then only you can get rid of that. And once accepted, what will happen? Air element also calm down. Then where are the problem? No problem. You have done one after the other, replacing one after the other. The point I am making is, if you are not entertaining the forest dwelling, that means you are mentally at home, physically maybe in the forest. Forest atmosphere is difficult. But one moment you appreciate it, you have done away with the household problems, worldly problems. And once you, within the forest also, when you can make your world limited to your body, and there the Buddha mentioned the body itself is somewhat irritating. It is not well balanced and but don't consider this as an irritation, because due to this bodily sensitivity, under the nose sensitivity, here and now you have done away with huge amount of tanha. So therefore bodily this thing indicate you are here and now. You have achieved the mindfulness. Mindfulness indicate your tingling sensation, heat, cold, benumbing, and all the kind of thing. The moment you appreciate it, you appreciate because it's a sign of mindfulness. And then Buddha is asking, can you make gladness out of that understanding? Well, kind of entertaining that difficulties, because this bodily sensitivity is a clear indication, I am mindful. And when that kind of a positive thinking happen only, you can observe the bodily feeling as such without the colored mind, without premeditated idea, without any preconceived idea. Observe it. Of course it is irritation, but bearable. Rather than the whole world full of frustration and the disappointment, now you have. And that is then only, once that acceptance happens, of course for that repetitive application must be there, theoretical understanding must be there, your radical reflection must be there, your past experience must be there, and when it's happening, you see, whenever the acceptance or positive thing happen, naturally body feelings ceases to exist. Or whenever you give a medium kind of attention to the breath ceases to exist. Just like a still forest fool, pool, and if you throw a rock, the pool will get waves and all the kinds of, but as far as you are not throwing more rocks or pebbles, again, water calm down. As far as distraction, it is distract. Otherwise, no. So when and where you let the breath to happen in its own accord, it naturally ceases. Naturally becomes subtle and subtler. So that means amount of frustration is become less and less. Amount of defilements become less and less. Amount of disappointment become less and less. That indicates it's possible. That means the tanha, not only at the kama tanha level, even at the bhava tanha level, now it is reducing. And you entertain reducing, disappearance, tapering off, and cessation. And when it is happening, if you are thinking in terms of your body and life, you feel like something losing. But the Buddha says, what is disappearing is, what is ceases to exist is suffering, the defilements. Therefore, you got rid of big amount of by coming to the forest, and that amount by limiting your attention to the body, and that amount by limiting attention to your one of the elements. And when you observe it, that element also calming down is a kind of answer for this tanha. So it is happening under your very nose, even for a split second. And if you have the ways and means to go back again and again into that situation, only your common sense is your refuge. No book knowledge, no masters, no any magics. You have to understand how to put up with your bodily sensitivity, how to put up with your bodily signals, and how to put up with this little tiny unruly situation and accept this as the truth, this as something happening under your very nose, and then only that cessation can take place. So the day you understand how you can facilitate for this mindfulness on a known object, even though the object is neutral, even though object is verifiable, then you may see that invariably you start to feel boring. You start to feel monotonous. You start to feel some kind of unknown area. You start to feel some kind of insecurity. And that also you must go prepared. The tanha means the lust, the desire. The now boredom is lack of desire, the lack of craving, lack of lust. So it appears like negative because throughout the samsara we were entertaining the craving, lustful thing. Now it is happening so fast. How to facilitate it? How to support it? So only method is trial and error. There is no other way. While doing, you have to listen. And while doing and listening, you have to discuss it. And while doing and listening and discussing, next day you have to find your own ways and means how to go into that kind of thing. Maybe 1,001 times you are failure, but one day you will understand for that there is a methodology. There is a system, and when it is happening, moment you disturb the system, tanha will come and grab. Or Nissarana come and grab you. So therefore it's a face-to-face, one-to-one fight. And no one in this audience is happy about this fight. But we are fighters now. Nissarana is coming, if the mindfulness or Nissarana. Or it says if the Kamachanda or Ekaggata. Kamachanda means mind with a multifaceted object, jumping, just like a monkey mind. But if you know only one object, repetitively, that's called ekaggata, collected mind or still mind. So still mind here, the kamachanda, multivarious object mind is there. Both, it's a law of nature. Observe it. They are utterly independent, utterly dependent on each other. The distracted mind only can entertain that collected mind. Collected mind only see distracted mind. They are two sides of the same coin. At the beginning you have very rarely the one-pointedness, but the mind is full of distractions and the nivaranas and disappointment and kind of thing. Imagine if you are a repetitive application again and again, one day you will see, proportionate to your effort, the one-pointedness also becoming somewhat mastery. You can take it under control. And when it's going there, one day, you will see 50% of the mind is distracted, 50% mind is collected and calm and quiet. You are a completely different person. You have a choice now. If you let loose, Kamachanda come and hit you. If you go for a strain, to the proportion of your effort, you can go to this collected mind, and they are reciprocal each other. Only the collected mind can understand the disadvantages of the desire. Whenever you are beaten by the disadvantage of the desire, you feel what a nice thing to have this kind of a collected mind. So after long practice only, one day you will verify, you will justify your past mistakes or your past trial and error, and within that period, till you verify, till you make yourself sure, so much of devotion, so much of belief must be there. And that belief is not to verify in the next life. Within this life you can verify. That is why the Buddha says sometimes 7 years' time you can verify this kind of thing. But if you are skillful enough, 7 days' time you can verify. Restrain your mind. Restraining in the moral restrainment and the concentration and the wisdom. We are now talking about the concentration. And fighting and complaining and becoming disappointed with Nissarana is a fertilizer for Nissarana. Instead, when and where possible, try to keep the mind with this known object, neutral object, verifiable object. Then you find so much so, the Nissarana, so Kamachanda in this case, is getting weaker and weaker. So, not related to the Kamachanda, but says the Vyapada. Vyapada is a hatred, the opposite of Kamachanda. And when the hatred happens, if you hate the hatred, it grows. That is known, it's called the Bhashaka Sutta. The Buddha says, it's a very nice thing. Of course, it is not tanna, what I am talking about, the dosa, or it is vyapada. It's exactly the same in the kama, this thing also, the tanna also. Whenever you deal it with, it grows. It becomes a food for you, for this defilement. So instead you have to understand, accept it. Don't try to fight with it. Don't try to make stories out of that, because it is natural. And let me explain this Koda Bhashaka. It says one day the king has gone for a vacation and gone for another local affair maybe, and then a demon come into the regime. And he go to the first, the gatekeeper, and say, I wish to go to the palace. He says, no, king is not available. You have no invitation? No. He says, whether you like it or not, I am going to go. And then the first gatekeeper became angry. When he became angry and using the harsh words, the demon become big and big and big and big. Ultimately push him away and go inside. And then he gave the message to the second gatekeeper, his supervisor. He says, a demon is coming, he is overpowering me, and the other person is coming with weapon and full of hatred, and go to the demon and attack and confront that. Demon become big and big and big. Ultimately he go to the palace, and whole palace is full, the palace full demon. And then one person run and say, the king, dear sir, something which is completely wrong, whole palace is now in danger, please go. And he says, wait, I have to wait another 1 hour, I am in rest. You go. The king is a wise person. Though when he come back, he say, the throne full of big fellow is ruling the country. And he says, how are you after long time? I was expecting you. Did our people treat you properly? I am sorry, I was not there. And you start pouring metta. And demon becomes small and small and small and small. And then everyone is looking. When the king comes, the demon becomes small and he put it and throw away from the window. Finished. And you can go, the hate, anger-eating demon, there's a YouTube. And in the conference, Ajahn Brahm show this video, what you all are doing. You hate it. It's growing. Accept it. Tell him, I am sorry, when you are coming, you are a VIP, VVIP. I was not there. Had I been there, I would have treated you properly. Have they treated properly? And then they will say that diminishing. Exactly the Kamachanda also. I am not telling Kamachanda to hug it, but accept it. Because when the Kamachanda is there, Kama Guna is not. It's a very clear sign. Whenever the Kama Guna or sensuous, materialistic or sense objects are there, you don't feel Kamachanda. When you renounce that, only Kamachanda happens. It's a one step ahead. But if you hate it, you miss the bus. And the whole meditation centers, everyone declare war against the hindrances. If you look from the samatha point of view, there are some rooms to understand. You must have a situation where least amount of kamachanda, vyapada, thinamida. But in vipassana way, you can tackle it by your attitude. When and where you find your mind is distracted, please check. Am I mindful about the distraction? Am I mindful about this obsession? Am I mindful about what is happening under nose? If it is under the light of mindfulness, it may be Nissarana, it may be breath, or it may be the rising and falling, it may be your posture. No problem. So you are understanding how to take this distraction as an object of meditation. This is usually not the way. That is a radical way of presentation. So therefore, whenever you try to push the kama tanha, the material, and whenever you renounce, you have to understand up to the extent of renunciation, obsessional defilements become very prominent. Because of your renunciation, it's a gift. It's a endowment, and deal it with, not fight with it. Not antagonizing with it. Because Nissarana always asking antagonism. It's always asking fighting, reaction, and assuming. So how long will it take for us to, in order to get rid of tanha, we have to love the intermediate kind of tanha. To get rid of the gross kind of tanha, you love intermediate kind of tanha. And once that is dealt, then you can go to the very subtle form of tanha, and then you can get rid of the gross tanha and the medium kind of tanha. And that is the way one replaced by other. Or gross thing you replace by the medium you replace by the subtle, and when and where it is happening, you must understand, idang nissai idam pajahata. That's the way the Buddha mentioned, if you wish to get rid of kama tanha, you have to accept kama sanya. That means nirvana. And once the nirvana is dealt very nicely, you deal it with rupa or a breath or your sitting posture. But whenever you go and dwell upon the rupa or your object of meditation, so much so you have done away with kama sanya, kama tanha and kama sanya. And ultimately your object, your rupa, also will replace by rupa sanya. That is also fading off like. That's a very clear indication you are getting rid of one with the help of the other. So that kind of chain action, that kind of gradual process it is happening. So therefore, your theoretical understanding, your practical experience and trial and error, your own with ways and means, your own attitude to that is very significant. Of course, meanwhile you must be meditating, and when and where it is happening, you can see tanha, we can weak it, make it weakening and not completely get rid of. That is the kind of absolute maximum you are thinking, but Buddha is not so, he is very pragmatic. He get rid of the big tanha by little tanha, and little tanha by the small, still little tanha, and replace one after the other. So for that, to understand the replacement, the most important aspect for psychologists, they say, is feeling. Feeling is the condition for tanha, vedana paccaya tanha. So, as far as you are in the pleasure principle, always thinking about the pleasurable feeling, you are one-sided. Your both eyes are not open. So therefore, when we are going there are some unpleasant kind of situation, but still there are good signs. Something like boredom. Something like the monotony. Something like lethargic. Something like sloth and torpor. Something like fearfulness. Something like uncertainty. Something like unknown. So not a single one in this audience have not met up with that kind of thing. Due to the pleasure principle, we get disheartened, we get up and go. And we give another kind of alternative desire. So instead, understand is go there, and further you go there, you may make an appointment with disappointment or appointment with this boredom and the frustration. That is the part very, very difficult to teach into the West. They never consider this as a tool. Asiatic people may be, because they have some self-mortification kind of idea right from the beginning, but the West, very difficult. But when you continue with mindfulness, when it is happening, if you are in such an atmosphere with the true people and this Dhamma, you may find a kind of a galvanizing effect or reinforcement effect. Whenever that sloth and torpor or lethargic situation was, still you just practice the timetable. Just keep on practicing, and if someone is asking why you are practicing, I don't know. I am just following the timetable. That's it. Because whatever you do with the motivation of pleasure. But here, definitely motivation, you are motivated not to the pleasure, but expect the getting rid of tanha. The gross tanha is very lustful, very delighted and craving. But the getting rid of tanha is replaced, that delightful and lustful thing will be replaced by this neutral kind of thing, but our mind read it as the lethargic. Mind read it as boredom, or frustration, or monotony, or sloth and torpor. Whatever may be, so take this as an object. Instead of the karma guna, instead of the desirable objects, take this one, because it is here and now. Not taking this means it's not, you are not welcoming and promoting. Whenever it is happening, try to understand it. For that, there should have a maturity. And is that maturity coming from management technique and teaching, or you are born with it, or is it your genetical situation yet to be clarified? When the meditation happens, whenever the good signs happen, good sign for the mindfulness, sometimes your mind, the pleasure principle says it is bad. And someone comes and says, don't take it as bad, you just maintain, sustain, endeavor, and try to. And some people simply can't do it because they are not born with that genes, born with this attitude. They consider it as a kind of a negative thing or nihilistic thing, why should we go for the boredom and kind of thing? If it is so, our main thing must be to get rid of boredom and go for the delight. That's my pleasure principle. That is how the technology and everything is happening. But the top class of the technology, they know by now they have destroyed their whole morality and whole their pleasure, whole their contentment, whole their objectives. But the day you accept it, it's in a sense, it's an acceptance of the first truth of suffering. When the path is proceeding, progressing, the boredom happens. Lethargic situation happens. It's a kind of early signs of the truth of suffering. So therefore, if you are not meditating for the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, only thing is escape you. There is no way. But if your main idea is genuinely, if the Four Noble Truths, so you have to understand, you have to go through this situation. So therefore, one day you will understand this is the opposite of tanha. Tanha is delight and lust and craving. But instead what I have is not delightful, not much lustful, not much craving, but this is solid under my very nose. And therefore if you are familiarizing it, this is the point where your changeover of your likings and disliking, or the traditional reflection will be replaced by the radical reflection. And when it is going to happen, don't think only in sitting meditation, never. No, there is no such a limit. Not that it is happening in walking meditation. Maybe in other places, or sometimes you may complain, such a thing can happen within the framework when you are not meditating. Because it's growing. So then you have to define what you mean by meditation. So often I say meditation, replace this term by mindfulness. Whether you are mindful and sit, or mindful in walking, or mindful day to day, it doesn't matter. Whenever you are mindful, each and every thought moment you are progressing. Try best in your sitting. If it is not possible, try in your walking. And if it is not possible in the day-to-day activities, wherever you may be, if you maximize it, each and every single thought moment of mindfulness is a devastation for the big structure called tanha. There's a physics parable. Not the parable, example like, imagine a huge bridge, maintained and used for a long time, it's well established. And if you ask the engineer, and know the center of gravity of that bridge, and if you hit that center of gravity, then the whole bridge gets violated. Even the small tap. So therefore, it says, if you take a marble and hit the bridge exactly to the center of gravity, then the vibration goes the whole bridge. And it's a vibration. And when the vibration, this pendulum is going that way, again if you can hit, you can the vibration or the movement, oscillation can be doubled. And if you can hit on the exactly point, slowly, by hitting a marble, you can break the bridge. That is why army platoons are not allowed to march on the bridge. But if he is going to coin with the vibration of the bridge, it can break down. So you have to hit on the center of gravity. You have to hit and get the vibration and hit again and again and again in order to increase the oscillation, increase the vibration, then it will shatter off. So like us, each and every moment, thought moment of mindfulness means the bridge of tanha will be shaken. You can feel even a split second. And the day you can go for 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive thought moments, 2, 3, 4, 5 breaths, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, you feel this vibration, you feel it is developing. And one before the last, I think Upandita Sayadaw, when I was in Burma, he told, pouring this information to the yogis and asking these beginners, please stop. Asking the beginners is unfair. It is too much of a task for a beginner. He says that is yes. But the day you understand 2-3 thought moments consecutively, how fast it is growing, there is no such a pleasure on the earth that even I can break it. You are not broken yet. It's gathering. So he says you can't imagine the amount of gathering momentum in the consecutive thought moments of the mindfulness, and that is also much clear and faster for the learned people. If you do not know, you can feel, but you do not know how to appreciate it. So therefore knowledge is important. And when it is happening, you can really appreciate. It's ultimately when you gather the momentum, it's go to a completely unknown area. So again you can come back. Next day also you go there. Likewise, when it is happening, the other people may say that Tanha is the whole governing principle on the earth, we can't break it. But the person who has taken the weapon of mindfulness, he keep on hitting on the same point. One day he will see, just like if you take a cobweb, you can see the center where the spider is there. Wherever it may be, a shock happens, the spider can understand it's a big prey or small prey, or is it me, or it is time to run away or fight or flight. You can understand by the just simple tap. Likewise, the samsaric circuit will be shaken, will be broken after a while, the day you understand where is your center of gravity. But if you hit on the other places, vibration will never go evenly. So therefore you have to understand, is the breath your center of gravity? Is your rising and falling your center of gravity? Is the walking your center? Depends. You have to understand where it is touching. It is called avenuing. Or becoming face to face, and once it happens, after a few days only you maybe again get coin, never mind. And when it is happening, the tanha weaken, becoming weaker and weaker, and mindfulness gain, spreading like branching out and flowering and fruiting, and that particular way of mindfulness, that particular taste of mindfulness is out of your trial and error. No teacher can pump. No the Buddha can say. Buddha can say this is the principle. But you have to do trial and error. Keep on trial. And then only you will understand at the beginning mindfulness is so weak. It's called bare attention. But when it's gathering, it's more than a thunderbolt. It can send a thunder. So that is the way how to foster the starting beginner's mind or beginner's mindfulness and facilitate so that it is gaining the ground. That means to continue to the mindfulness and then become steadfast mindfulness, and then you feel like playing with all the defilements because now it is somewhat under control, or we call mastery, or situation becomes somewhat under your control, and then you feel it is human nature. No animals can practice it. No deva can practice. No brahma can practice it. Only if you have correct knowledge and if you understand the samsaric suffering and you have a little bit of your own experience, positive experience, facilitate it, foster it. Do it again and again till your faith becomes verifiable faith. Till that faith also very weak. Occasionally it's work, it is not. But anyway, once it come, mindfulness come up to a certain level, it in turn it increase the faith, increase the energy, increase the concentration, increase the wisdom, everything happen. But early part is painfully slow. Early part is painfully slow. It is not a disadvantage for you personally, that is the nature. That's why it is profound. So therefore, early part you have to give the conducive condition and background and the facilities as a beginner's mind without any expectation. No result oriented. Do. While doing only you can see what is the relationship between the growing mindfulness and weakening of the tanha. And when it is happening, even though you have not achieved a substantial amount of breakdown of tanha, you've developed the confidence. This is the one and the only way. And there you will put all your effort, all your assets in order to maximize this mindfulness. And of course, when it's going there, all the other good qualities will come and help the mindfulness, the faith, the energy, the concentration and the wisdom. So give the forefront, give the cutting edge to the mindfulness, even though it is desperately difficult, but it is a kind of a special task force training like. It is not the moral restraint. This is, we are talking about the concentration restraint. And there you, not only the kama tanha, even the bhava tanha, you can understand. And more you continue, you see this tanha, so far we were fostering, we were facilitating, but tanha never for the well-being of me or well-being of the people. It is pono bhavika nandi raga sahagata tatra tatra abhinandani. It is perpetuation of this suffering. And then and there pleasure. Tatra tatra abhinandani, and soon after you will become a victim to the frustration. But instead mindfulness is going to happen. It is, don't talk about this continuity. It says here and now. And more and more mindfulness happen. The continuity or the momentum of the tanha will be reduced. Then and there it is cut off, and mindfulness learn and gain the tactics. So that one you never find on books. That one you never gain by doing other meritorious deeds. That one you can't borrow it from your parents or teacher. And even if you develop the skill, you can pass it to your children, because they have to do their own self-research or experience. So that therefore it is very intrinsic, the experience you are gaining. So I hope we have all the other facilities, because the body is a fully equipped laboratory. Fully equipped. And nothing to say, this is lacking, this is lacking. That is, we earn from, according to the Buddhist tradition, from the merit of the past life. And now if we are not using it and still using it for the killing, stealing and sexual misconduct, we have to say sorry. But instead, we use it for the gathering of the momentum of the mindfulness. You see, the society is not completely barren of that kind of people. You feel like the whole society is full of unfair and for that. It is not so. There are a huge amount of proportion, they are minding their own business. They try their mindfulness. They are not worrying about the convincing people and teaching people and kind of thing. So therefore more and more you become mindful, you can see other mindful people. And there you find you are not lost. You are getting into a family kind of a relationship. More and more you advance, you find you can embrace every person. Everyone. At the beginning you find the whole world is unfair and pollution and global warming and lot of questions. But they are not questions for mindfulness. Never. They can create the ethical questions. They can create the cultural questions. So cultural beings cannot be mindful. I am not against the culture. I did agriculture. So your cultural value ultimately will be a blockage for your progress. Till that maintenance. What I'm telling is whole global problem and unfair. It is never a problem for mindfulness if you know the word meaning of mindfulness. It's ever evolving and ever refining. So each and every thought, each and every distraction, make it a point to redefine your mindfulness and apply again and again. Then you are the person will understand when and where mindfulness is intact, and you are the people will be delighted then and there. So don't ask anyone, you yourself will feel. So with that remark, I would like to sum up the talk today. Thank you very much for attentive listening.